Hey guys, Conquistador here. Just wanted to let you know if you wanted to go ahead and skip to the straight to the methods that tells you how to help remove some of the bugs and improve your gameplay. Go ahead and jump to the 26-minute mark of the video. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying your game. Hey guys, Conquistador here. I just moved into my new computer room, and I got in here a little bit quicker than I realized. So I decided that I would go ahead and make this video and get this content out there since I had a little bit more time. Now what I'm going to be covering is just the general community's feelings about Cyberpunk 2077 on the higher end systems as well as the lower end ones. So, I'm going to go ahead and also cover some proven methods to help remove some of the bugs and glitches that people are experiencing, and which will also help improve your gameplay experience as well. So with all that, let's go ahead and get started and talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So, when I was doing a little bit of research on this game, I wanted to basically take the pulse of the community and get a general idea as a whole about what people thought about the game. Now, in my research by looking through the different social media platforms, I came across a surprising amount of memes making fun of the insanely high PC requirements needed to play this game, as well as the amount of bugs this game's also experiencing. That I was actually surprised by the amount of them. So if you're into funny memes and Cyberpunk, you might want to check them out. There, you can quite literally just go on social media at this point, and you'll probably see plenty of them. But I found a lot of them pretty funny. But anyways, speaking of social media, I was cruising through it, and I just wanted to get an idea of what most people thought about the game in general, those playing on the high end and the low end systems. And so the general consensus that I came to was that as far as story, as far as the characters and their progression goes, as far as the RPG elements, the game overall gets high praise. It's a great experience, except for maybe the driving. A lot of people really don't like the driving. Apparently, it's got some pretty poor handling. So that's the one big minus everyone says, except for the game-breaking bugs. But yeah, also we need to fix that driving, which I'm sure will be fixed in future patches, and there will be many of them. So anyways, what I was wanting to do was get just a general idea of what most people were saying about the game and their experience with it on the just last gen PC hardware, as well as the next gen new hardware, and kind of get an idea of the difference of what they're experiencing with this game. So the first group, the lower last gen, I don't like to call it lower quality hardware because it's not so much lower quality, it's just older. The older and last gen hardware that I saw mostly was like the NVIDIA's RTX 2060s. I saw a lot of the GTX 1080s, not even the 1080 Ti's. It was just a lot of 1080s. A lot of people were on AMD's RX 570s. Those were really popular. So it was, but basically around that hardware range, just to give you an idea. So most of the people seemed to be claiming about the same thing, that they were enjoying a stable 1080p resolution experience on low to medium settings. Now, obviously, this is without any ray tracing. but they were hitting an FPS of around 40 to 50, just depending on the hardware. So I was happy and sad about that because I really felt like for as a PC gamer, you want to at least get 60 FPS when you're playing a game, and also I just felt like the settings for that particular hardware was just kind of low. Cyberpunk. One of the big and great things about it is that the graphics in it are really, it's just a beautiful game. So I was really disappointed that the last gen older hardware just really wasn't optimized as well as I think it could be. Which goes to reinforce an idea that I'm having about Cyberpunk in general that I'll share with you in a moment. But anyways, the other side of the people that I was wanting to just get a general idea of their experience are the high-end PC gamers and next-gen console, but in particular the high-end PC gamers. I was interested because they've got all this new hardware. So just to give you an idea, these are the people playing with like 3070s, 3080s, 3090s, or like the 6800 XT, in that range of GPUs, and like the new Zen 3 CPUs or Intel's like 10700K CPU, something like that, So what I wanted to do was just kind of find out their general consensus. So as I was reading through a lot of their comments and reading their specs and what have you, I saw one particular gamer that kind of summed it up for everybody. So what their setup was, they had an RTX 3080 with equally high-end components throughout their system, but they're also running a Zen 3 CPU, a 5950 AMD Ryzen CPU. I don't know the exact specs for it, but just to give you an idea of what he was running. So that's like the tippity top of CPU hardware at the moment. So his experience was that he was getting around a range of 90 to 120 FPS with ray tracing enabled and DLSS set to balanced, and the resolution was set at 1440p. So I was seeing a lot of the same stuff, slightly lower for the 3070s, slightly higher for the 3090s, but in general, that was like a good little mean mark for that group of people. So my conclusion after just hearing all the different sides of it is that Cyberpunk at max settings on a 1440p resolution is really the sweet spot for experiencing this game in its full glory. So if you really want to experience Cyberpunk how it's meant to be, I think how the creators of this game meant it to be experienced, you probably are going to want a system that can hit at least 60 frames per second and run 1440p resolution. Ray tracing, you might possibly with ray tracing, depending on if you like that, you can add in DLSS too, but obviously I don't think that the 6000 series, AMD 6000 series, is supported with its ray tracing yet. I think that's going to be addressed pretty soon though. But regardless, 1440p, 60 plus frames, that's what you want to hit for. That's the sweet spot for Cyberpunk 2077 in my opinion. So with that said, there is another side to this coin, and that is for the last gen console gamers. they are unfortunately not experiencing a sweet spot at all. They are experiencing quite the opposite. If you would call that a sweet spot, this is a sour spot, although it's much worse than that. So, a lot of the last gen console players, in particular, especially the base models that are using the oldest hardware, are experiencing a lot of performance issues. For an example, would be that at times where there's a lot of action, there's a car chase and a gunfight going on, and the hardware is really being taxed at 100%. The graphics resolution will quite literally drop all the way down to 720p, and on top of that, the FPS is in the low 20s and even dips to the low, I mean, not the low, but the high 18s at times. Now, if that's the case, that is that's borderline unplayable territory, especially if you know what to look for. So that's really upsetting, I feel bad for a lot of console gamers because that again is supporting an idea that I have about this game that I'm going to share with you in a moment. But like I said, that's very upsetting for me. And then when you include the fact that there's still a ton of bugs, small to game breaking, and then they've got these huge performance drops for these last gen consoles, that just really makes it hard to. It makes me feel really bad for those people who spent the money on the game and hoping that they were going to get to play Cyberpunk, and then they ended up with a very lackluster version of it, to be sure. So I think there was somebody that made a comment on one of the YouTube videos I was watching that really, I think, summed up really well what the general consumer, mainstream consumer, would say for this game if they're playing on a last gen console. So this person said that they were playing their game, and their mom walked in and watched them play the game for a moment, and then their mom said that, "Is this game supposed to be this blurry?" Now, this mom represents the mainstream consumer as a whole. This person probably doesn't know what to look for, as far as, what's good or what's bad in graphics, right? A mainstream consumer will have a last-gen system. Obviously, they've heard of Cyberpunk 2077. There's tons of marketing for it. There's tons of hype for it. They saw it on store shelves. They're like, "Oh, awesome! I can get this game. It's supported for my, PlayStation 4 or whatever." So they buy it. They spend the money just like everybody else has spent the money on it, except they get the game, they put it in their system, and they start playing it, and they don't know what to look for, what's good or bad, But then they look, as they're watching, they say, "Is this game supposed to be this blurry?" And I think a lot of people are saying that statement, maybe not saying it exactly, but in their hearts, they're saying, "Is this game supposed to be that blurry?" So that's my analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it, for the day, is that is this game supposed to be this blurry? But ultimately, what it's saying is that there are definitely some optimization issues, in particular for those last gen consoles, and that brings me to another point, is that with all those flaws, there's a lot of people also saying that the game probably should have had at least another year in development. Now, that's a pretty strong statement. But all things considered, when you look at the game, it was first introduced in 2012, right? Now, that's 8 years ago. People have been waiting for this game for a long time. It was supposed to be released earlier this year, back I think in April. Then it got delayed to September, and then I think it got delayed to November, and then finally December. So what? 3 delays? I think that's right. I could be wrong, but it's been delayed a bunch. And I don't believe that's CD Projekt Red's fault. I think that it's the whole worldwide problem that we're all experiencing right now. I think that really affected the CD Projekt Red ability to properly finish up the game how they wanted to. I think that had a major factor in it. On top of that, you have a huge amount of people pushing and pushing and pushing CD Projekt Red to get this game out. They delayed it once, they delayed it twice, they delayed it 3 times. We want the game. We don't care what condition it's in. I just want the game. I have to have this game, right? And then you have CD Projekt Red's marketing team saying, "Oh yeah, the game has reached gold status," right? So what is gold status? I'd never heard of gold status until the marketing team for this game said that it reached gold status, which means that it's ready to be played. They're just making a few minor tweaks so it plays properly for every system. That was a fib, to be nice about it. That was a white lie. And I'm being nice about that. But it was a lie. It was definitely not ready. So those people who say that it probably needed another year in development, they probably weren't too far off the mark. But I think, as time goes by, we're going to get more patches and what have you, more optimizations. So hopefully those things will change. Which brings me to the point that I was going to make. This game was designed to be a next-gen game. It was never meant to be a last-gen game, which seems to continue to, I guess, show that constantly with the optimization issues, not only for last-gen consoles and performance issues, but also the performance issues for older hardware, versus what you're getting from the 3000 series GPUs and, or a 2080 Ti, or the next gen consoles. Yeah, it looks like that this was by design by CD Projekt Red, meant to be a game for the next gen systems. It was not meant to be played on older systems. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case. Now, I do think that as time goes by, CD Projekt Red does hold a high standard for creating quality content. That is true. They want to make a quality product. And I think that they were almost kind of forced into releasing this game before they wanted to, with all the people pushing them to release it. Those same people, though, they should not be allowed to complain about the bugs now. They pushed to have this game released. They didn't care what state it was in. So now that it is released, you can't complain about it. But for those who didn't, the only thing I could say is that, CD Projekt Red is a company that holds a really high standard for wanting to make a quality product, and I think they're going to put a lot of time and effort into delivering quality patches and making this game truly what it was meant to be. Which makes me really jealous for the people who are gonna end up playing this game, like 6 or 7 months down the road from now, who, just happen to go into the store, or decide to buy the game on their PC, and they've got the new PC hardware finally because, now it's not like in scalpers' hands, it's actually on store shelves or whatever, and they had never heard of the game before, or they just decide to wait, right? So all the new DLC content's been released. The multiplayer aspect is out there. All these things, all the patches have come out now. The optimization is out there, and these people will finally play the game for the first time. And I think that those people are the ones that are going to really experience this game for what it was meant to be, and its true glory. I said before that to the sweet spot for this game is 1440p at least 60 FPS or higher to really experience this game in its full glory. But I think ultimately, in its true full glory, we're going to be seeing it once the patches and the DLCs and all the other stuff comes out, when it actually is a completed game. Because I do feel like we're playing a game that's almost in its beta state right now. Which brings me to my next point. Should I buy this game? So this is what I'm going to say about that. If you have a higher end gaming rig or a next gen console, something like that, should you be purchasing this game right now? I think it's okay if you did. You're gonna experience bugs and stuff like everybody else, but because you are able to, handle the game with your hardware, you're gonna experience less of the bugs that other people are gonna experience with older hardware. And on top of that, you're going to get a much better experience, visually and, just everything else all around. So, and I think that that even though with the bugs, you can look past it, because with that higher end hardware, you can still really enjoy the game. And not only that, since this game has such great replayability, it's going to continue to get, patches and what have you. So it's going to put it in a situation to where it's going to continue to get better as time goes by, and it's going to have you're going to have reasons to replay it. So for those with higher end systems, should you buy it now? Yeah, I don't see a problem with it at all. Now on the other side, those with older consoles or older PCs, I just can't in good faith say buy this game right now. You're going to... It's a situation where you want to like it, but it's making it really hard to, between the performance dips, or the lack of performance, and the bugs and the glitches, I just think that it's better if you have an older console or older PC hardware to wait, see what kind of patches come out, see what kind of optimization happens, save your money, and possibly get a next gen console, or save your money and buy a newer GPU or whatever, because I think that waiting in that instance is going to pay off for you. Like my grandma always says, patience is a virtue. But in this case, that is absolutely true. But so for those people, can I recommend this game if you have an older system or older hardware? I just can't. I can't. I just don't feel right about telling you to do that. It's it's a next gen game. It's meant to be a next gen game, and until CD Projekt Red proves me wrong with some type of patch, I just don't see it happening. But we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that good things are going to be happening for this game. I think that we just need to be patient, because I think that the game's going to continue to get better as time goes by. Which brings me to my final point. Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely going to be this era's new crisis. And what I mean by that is Crisis was an older game that required the most highest end hardware to play it on max settings. Well, Cyberpunk 2077 is that type of game where you're going to want to test your system to see how well it handles and performs this game with full settings, max ray tracing, max all the settings maxed out, just to show how powerful your newly built gaming rig truly is. I think that this game is the new crisis of this era. um, but I know I'm interested to see how future hardware and optimizations are gonna tackle this game too. So this game's gonna have a pretty exciting future. It's had an exciting history, and it's gonna have an exciting future as well. But I'm optimistic for it. I think that it's going to definitely. I wouldn't say that it delivered on the hype, but if you kept your expectations realistic as a game overall, not including the bugs, but as a game overall, it did meet the expectations and hype if you kept a realistic view about it. Now, with all the bugs and issues like that, that definitely takes away from it. But if we remove the bugs, yeah, I would say that it's an incredible game. So if you're patient, we're gonna see it continue to improve. So that's just my advice for you. Now to get on to the most important thing. This is what you're probably watching for: the methods to improve your game experience and remove some of these bugs and glitches. Alright, now these are a few methods that I know have been tried. This is not like a one-off. People are for sure using these methods, and they do work, and they help to remove some of the bugs that people are experiencing. So by using these methods, they should help to improve some of the graphical bugs and glitches you're having, and also maybe make the gameplay a little bit smoother, and also reduce the amount of glitches you're experiencing. So, and the other good thing is these methods apply to everyone across the board. Doesn't matter what type of console you have, last gen, next gen. It doesn't matter what type of PC you have, older or newer. All these methods work for everyone. So that's good news for you, because if you're looking for something that will improve the bugs, then look this way. Now you might already be using them, but I hope that they do help you. So the first thing that you need to do to just enhance the graphics and fix some of the visual issues is to first turn off chromatic aberration. You're going to find that in your settings. Turn that off. That's going to help to improve some of those visual issues that people keep having. Another thing, which I personally turn off anyways for all my games, I just don't like it. I think that it makes games look worse, is motion blur. So the second thing you need to do is turn motion blur off. I personally feel it makes things look and feel smoother with it turned off versus turned on. So for me, I turn it off for all my games. But for Cyberpunk in general, turn motion blur off, because it will help remove the bugs and glitches and help improve the graphical the issues that people are having. It will help to reduce the bugs and improve the graphical blah. I just had a brain fart. It will help to improve your gameplay and improve the visuals and help reduce some of the glitches. So, first thing, turn off chromatic aberration. Second, turn off motion blur. Alright, so the last thing you need to do is also turn off film grain, the film grain effect in the settings. So, turn off chromatic aberration, turn off motion blur, and turn off film grain. If you do all these things, you might like these turned on in other games, but until, some new patches and optimizations happen, turn those off, because they will improve your gameplay experience. They should help remove some of the bugs and glitches that you're experiencing graphic-wise, and help to reduce bugs that are happening elsewhere as well. So do that, and it will improve your experience. Now, also, there might be some other settings and different combinations too that could further improve your gameplay. So if you know what you're doing, go into the advanced settings and, play around, tweak the settings, see if there's a fine-tuned combination that improves the game further and helps remove more bugs, and if you happen to find them, share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it because I'm always looking for ways to improve my game, especially in this case Cyberpunk, because I enjoy this game with the bugs. I will love it without it. So if you happen to come across anything yourself, please share it in the comments. And if it turns out that you just mess up all the settings, good news is you can just reset it back to default. It won't hurt your game. So those are all the things that you need to do. Turn off chromatic aberration, turn off motion blur, and turn off the film grain effect. Alright, now the other thing that I found really helpful was for the controller settings. Now, I personally like playing games with a controller for most games. If you use a keyboard and mouse, then this doesn't apply to you. But if you like playing this game with a controller, and I personally believe this game's better with a controller, then you need to do this. So you need to go into your settings, the controller settings, and you need to change the horizontal and the vertical bonuses to 0. Now that will add some extra sensitivity to the stick when it's pushed. It should remove that sluggish feel that a lot of people have been complaining about, and that provides a no delay input. So make sure that those bonuses are turned off. So again, turn off the horizontal and vertical bonuses, drop them down to 0. Because a lot of people were complaining that there was like a delayed effect with their controllers while they were playing this game. That should remove that. It'll add that extra sensitivity that your controller needs, and you won't have that delayed effect with the controller. So those are all my methods that you need to do to improve this game. I hope that they helped you. If you know any others, please provide them in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. I definitely will share it in any future content I have, because I'm all for improving this game. Absolutely. So please, if you know any other ways, share it in the comments below. I really appreciate it. So I really hope this helped improve your playthrough in some way. If it doesn't, at least I hope that you learned something new, and maybe you could share it with a friend and it'll improve their playthrough at least. I'd also like to hear, what are y'all playing on? Tell me what type of system or setup you're playing on, and what's your experience with Cyberpunk on that particular setup. I'm curious, how it's improving for people as more upgrades, with the optimizations come out. I am curious about hearing about that too. So please share it in the comments below. I'd love to see and get some reactions from people. I really am interested in hearing from everyone. So with all that said, guys, I just want to thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking around. I know it's a long video, and I hope that it helped you out. And I really appreciate you guys watching. So with that, just like this video, and hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to continue to try and provide more content on Cyberpunk, improving Cyberpunk, things you need to do, and other great content as well involving just computer technology in general, finding hard to find hardware, all those kinds of things. I'm trying to cover as much as possible. So please provide anything that you're interested in the comments too. I'll try and post content on it as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Be safe and stay healthy. And don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys soon. Have fun and enjoy playing Cyberpunk 2077. I have a feeling that it's going to be getting better real soon. I'm hopeful. So stay safe, and I'll see y'all soon. So later, guys. I got to get back to my game as well. So be safe.